Smartly Uneducated is hands down the greatest podcast in the world. But be warned, this one is not for the faint of heart. With topics ranging from true crime to conspiracy theories, this podcast doesn't shy away from violence or controversial content. Their slogan,
"Oh, we're going to Pluto to see alien titties,"
or
and suck on it till you get some raw milk,
isn't just a catchy tagline. It's the truth. These hosts have a world of knowledge that expands across the cosmos. If you are looking for a podcast that will make you laugh, make you think, and make you reevaluate your life choices, tune into Smartly Uneducated and join the uneducated madness.
You know what I don't like, Mr. Evan?
What's that?
I don't like water. I think water...
Oh.
No, I don't like it. The viscosity of it, the way it swishes in your mouth. Like, I see these little tubby kids walking around with all their soda pops and their colas, whatever they call it these days. And let me tell you, man, all I see is diabetes. Diabetes everywhere. And you know what? That's okay. I think I kind of want diabetes more than drinking water at this
Tear
point.
into it. Tear into them. Do
Because-
it. Tear into them.
Tear into it. Because we all know this is a conspiracy from the medical community. Aren't you aware of this? Are you aware of this?
I did not. I
Okay,
did not
good.
know about this.
Yes, because they put little nanobites in the water. Also fluoride. Ignore the nanobites. Nothing to worry about there. But mainly the fluoride in the water, because they think that ingesting what you're supposed to use for brushing your teeth is good for your internal organs. Because they're like, wow, you're gross. You are full of sin. We are based on religion in our lives and structure. So we're going to pump in a chemical that will cleanse you from the inside, since Jesus did not die for your organs. He died for your soul. There is a difference. So they pump us with fluoride so that way our insides are clean for harvesting whenever we die. And I don't know how I feel about that. It's really enraging. It enrages me down to my butt cheeks, and my butt cheeks say no. We must close the mailbox and sit down on a comfortable chair. But I don't have a comfortable chair because I have fluoride in my stomach. And when I go to the bathroom, it burns. It burns on the exit. It burns on the entry. Well, sometimes on the entry, but I don't know how I feel about that. But yeah, I see these little tubbies, and they got their colas with their sugar and their corn syrup. And I'm like, I kind of want some of that now. Because maybe if I drink nothing but sugary, corny paste syrup beverages, then my butt would not burn when I pooed. And it's because of the fluoride that you put in the water that then goes into our organs and cleanses them. But what they don't know is that there's nanobites in there too. And then it floats their way up. They crawl their way up on the inside, up into the base of your skull, into your brain. And that's where mind control comes from, because they're using fluoride for mind control, Evan. Fluoride for mind control. And I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
All right. We get that you don't like water, Ben. We get it.
Do you get it?
Welcome to Smartly and welcome to Smartly Uneducated. I'm Evan.
And I'm Ben. Welcome. So we have a good episode.
I didn't know you felt so strongly about water.
You know what's really upsetting about water? You know what really is upsetting?
Huh.
Is the fact that, when it's a hot day outside, you're like, man, I can't wait to have a nice cup of like ice water. Like, I want to cool down. But then you find out that drinking cool water, and this is scientifically proven, when you drink cold water, it actually slightly slows down your metabolism.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So it's like, wait, so you're telling me all the things that you have to do to stay healthy just suck? Like everything?
Yeah.
Like even down to drinking water. I can't even drink ice cold water. I have to drink warm water because that helps with your metabolism. And
hot water is the way to go. We like drinking hot tea and whatnot. That helps you with your metabolism.
it makes me very upset because, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm all for drinking like hot coffee, hot tea, hot chocolate. Like, I'm all game for it. But when it comes down to water, if it's like because I'm in Texas, so like if it's like 108 degrees outside, Bitch, I want me a nice cold glass of ice water. This is 2023. We don't live back in the day when we lived in a cave and we had no way to like refrigerate our things and have a way to cool off. But no, it has to be hot water.
Oh, that's the benefit of living in Texas, then, right? You can just leave your water outside in beautiful plastic jugs of water, preferably the ones that have a lot of BPA in it. So that way you get that BPA into your bloodstream to help your metabolism speed up and keep you going for energy, right?
I didn't like anything you just said. I did not like
Yeah, just leave
anything.
your water outside in the sun and warm it up so it's boiling hot. No, yeah,
Yeah.
dude, that's delicious.
Oh.
You know, have you ever made like sun tea before, where you like get a glass jug of water and put like a Lipton iced tea bag inside of it and just let the sun warm it up?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I like doing that.
I
That's
do
fun for
too.
me.
I actually enjoy. I think tea tastes better when you do sun tea. I feel like I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the slow since it's what is it? It's steep super or was it steeping? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, yeah, steeping's correct. It's called tea bagging and steeping. Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
there's only one type of teabagging we allow here, and that's a pair of balls on a face. Or a teabag in a pitcher of water in the sun.
Yeah. That's what I'm about. That's what I'm
That's what I'm
about.
about right there. But inside this
Um,
studio, bro, we used to
hey,
have a
when's this
casting.
episode gonna?
What's that? I was about to say used to have a casting couch.
No,
But
I was trying to move past it.
Okay, I got you.
So when's this episode gonna be released? Do you know?
This episode will be released the week after next. So this upcoming Thursday will be I don't
The
even remember.
11th.
This next
Yeah.
Thursday we have a different episode. It's the week after next Thursday, so 2 Thursdays from now.
Okay. Right on. With that said, on January 10th, there is to be some news about like BlackRock. They are to release an ETF based around Bitcoin
Mm.
that should change the way that we see currency for the forthcoming future. If it is to be released, Bitcoin would now immediately become more valuable than gold.
Interesting.
Because once BlackRock, I mean, they've already invested, it says right here, where'd it go? $25 million, where other hedge funds have invested $200 million into the ETF filing. So far, they have about $500 million in liquidation just going into the Bitcoin ETF. Yeah, so when this hits, it's going to be astronomical for the little crypto world. I recently ran into a baker in a small town just near where I live, and he was like, we got to keep the government away from the CDCC crypto banks. They're going to freeze our wallets, freeze our money, take our shit." Like, come on, man. Use debit cards and credit cards. Like, all your shit can be frozen up immediately already anyway. But that's just me going off on a tangent, a little bit of news articles. I always do that every episode. So that was my news for the week.
Yeah, the moment you said the moment you said that you knew a baker, all I could think in my head was I was like, does he know the Muffin Man?
He does know that. I asked him. He had muffins in there from the Muffin Man.
The Muffin Man. Nothing? Right? There we go. Hey. Anyways, so that's
You made me a
interesting.
little happy with that.
Eat me. I love Shrek. Shrek is great.
Shrek is fantastic.
What was it? So today's episode, I say we jump right into our topic because I know you've been at we tried to do this episode before. We ended up completely silent.
That was my fault. My mic got muted about halfway through the episode, so
there's that.
nobody could hear me.
That is true. That is true. But at the same time, part of it was due to that. But then the other real reason also is because we ended up just getting really sidetracked and we didn't really talk about it.
Like, at all.
So it's like, yeah, and we already do that. We're already really bad enough about like jumping off of topics. So yeah, yeah, we're redoing this, redoing it. If you
Yeah,
want to take it
so we're
away,
talking. Yeah. So I don't know if anybody out there has had a tick issue in their life before, having ticks bite them, or know about ticks. I'm sure you do, and you probably just think that they're a regular occurrence in your day-to-day life. But you can honestly thank the military for any sort of tick disease that has come your way in recent history or recent life that you can hear about, such as Lyme's disease. Turns out that's sort of a military created disease. So if you get Lyme's disease, you can thank the government and the military. And that all happens on Plum Island. So
well, real quick question. So when you talk about Lyme disease and ticks, are you like? Could you give more context on that? Are you
oh yeah,
referring?
yeah.
Are you referring to the tick thing that got created and got unleashed, or are you referring to just the uh, where it's like biochemical warfare, where they're creating and experimenting with very hazardous things?
A little bit of column A, column B. I'll get into the ticks and how they are sort of mishandled and whatnot over in this island. I want to give a geographical location first because the ticks were man-made. Not necessarily the insect itself, but the diseases that they carry were used to kill. Like they were manufactured to be dropped on wars, like World War II specifically, in order to help
Was it?
win and kill their enemies.
It was World War II? Because
Yeah,
when did this
they were
start?
created during World War One. So the facility Plum Island was first a fort for the military. I believe it's called Fort Terry or something along those lines. And it was created in 1909 as a military instruction, and then in 1911 they turned it into an animal disease control facility, and they ended up having FMD disease, live cultures of it, which is the foot and mouth disease, which gives you welts and warts and fucked up brain all over the place, and
Hey, just
animals get it, and then if you eat the meat, then you get sucked up in that disease.
hey, just to let you know, whenever you're talking in the mic, and I don't care that we're doing this on the podcast, try to like talk over it because you're talking like right down into it, and when you're doing it, you're
Yeah,
getting
baby,
like heavy
down the
pops.
barrel.
Like there's a lot of heavy pops on my side. Just letting you know. Down the
I'm,
barrel. Oh
I'm going
yeah.
down the barrel. So in 1971, which I know that doesn't seem too far away in respect to 1909 and 1911, the New York Times wrote an article about this place, and they described Plum Island as a devil's island for the deadliest animal disease germs known to man.
Jesus.
That alone is sort of like a eerie thing to even see in consideration how close it is to land. So Plum Island is off of Long Island. It is attached by a bridge, and it is, I don't know, I think it was 10 miles away from Long Island, and then I think it was 15 miles north, south of Connecticut, rather, right
Yeah.
south of Lyme, Connecticut.
Yeah. In that island, it's under isn't it under 24-hour, it has like 24-hour surveillance and security like out the butt. Like it's very serious. Like it's 100% always monitored. 365 24 hours a day.
Yeah, they have legit snipers there, dude. Like,
Oh my
the,
goodness. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah. I
like
remember that. Yeah, yeah. They
any
shoot
sort of
birds.
animal that lands there, like pigeons or seagulls or birds or fish or turtles, if they land on the shore or on the building, the snipers will just kill them because the island is infected with so many diseases that if any of these creatures get out to the population of New York, which is, I think it was 80 miles away, then they're fucked. Like they're getting huge diseases released to the world.
Yeah, I love how everyone's worried about a zombie apocalypse type outbreak. It's like, no, nah, you got to be worried more about what your more of a government facility, releasing some stuff unintentionally or intentionally, we don't know, but you know what I mean. Like I'd be more concerned not about a zombie apocalypse, more of a biological warfare apocalypse that inadvertently got started because they weren't very good at keeping something contained and messing with things they really probably shouldn't have been.
Yeah, and that's almost exactly what happened with the ticks. So during World War One, after World War One, rather, they brought over Nazi scientists via Operation Paperclip. His name is Eric Traub. This guy is fucking evil. Got an article pulled up right here on him that I've been reading all morning. Eric Traub was a Nazi German warfare scientist who allegedly smuggled into the United States in 1949 from the former Soviet Union under the auspice of the top secret U.S. government program Operation Paperclip.
Was there?
So this guy.
Sorry, I have a question. Did it say
Yeah.
anything in the research on the side you did that had any information on the when it came to the Nazi scientists? On were there any significant scientific names, like scientist names, of like ones we would know that were a part of other programs in the government that were like, because we know that some of the Nazi scientists that came over worked on the like us going to space, with NASA and all that stuff. Is there any significant or profound names? That's all I'm trying to get at.
I mean, he worked alongside. He was second in charge with Heinrich Himmler and Intel Reims and Adolf Hitler. Even when he was like in communication with him on a regular basis, he worked directly with Adolf Hitler.
Yeah.
Also,
what was his name again?
Anna Bürger. Which one?
One of the scientists that was brought over. The one who worked with Hitler.
The guy's name is Eric Traub. It's ERICHTRAUB. Eric Traub. He is an expert in weaponizing foot and mouth. That is like what he did.
Oh, wow. So we can thank him for the foot and mouth disease that.
Yeah, almost literally. Almost literally, yeah.
What a cunt.
He worked directly with Adolf, Heinrich Himmler, and Inzel Reims. Those individuals were collecting Rinderpest virus and packaging weaponized foot and mouth disease for dispersal onto cattle and reindeer in Russia. So they were experimenting on cattle and reindeer over in Russia to then weaponize it for America. But the U.S. government went over there and fucking stole Eric Traub and yanked him over to Plum Island and was like, "You're now working for us." The FBI has a document on it.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, dude. This guy, he wreaked havoc on our system. So a part of what I was trying to get at with the ticks is that there's a possibility that this guy created these ticks and accidentally released them, So these ticks I'm referring to, they're called the Lone Star tick. They have a little white dot on their back. So that's why they call them the Lone Star tick. And they say that they are derived from Texas. But if you look at the spread over the past 30 to 40 years, they started up in right off of Connecticut, right in Long Island, right in Rhode Island's area, and they have slowly crept their way over toward Texas and Arkansas and Oklahoma, and they're continuously spreading across. Jeez. These ticks, if you get bit by them, you become immediately, after 24 hours, I'm sorry, not immediately, after 24 hours, if you don't remove this tick from your body, you become deathly allergic to red meat, like pork, cattle, any sort of red meat. You become deathly allergic to it.
Since we're on that subject, and this has to do with it, but like the whole after 24 hours, you become deathly allergic to red meat type situation, like pork, beef, all that crap. Do you think there might be a relation between, because like look in the past 20 years, let's just say 20 years, the past 20 years, there has been the rise of people who have adverse reactions. Like, and when I say adverse reactions, I'm not saying like, oh, whoa, you're breaking out. It's more of like when certain people eat red meats, they have their body, like some people have like, will get a rash, and some people will it does not sit well in their body. It just doesn't, and it's being proven now, which is really weird.
Yeah.
Because red meat, honestly, overall, is actually super good for you. And the whole misconception that it's not is just a bunch of bullshit. Because people don't actually research. But my point is that, like, do you think? I wonder if there's a connection between that, because if we know that shit has already broken out of this facility and gotten released, right, over the past since it was founded, right, and they've been doing this fucked up shit over there, like, I just wonder if there's a relation. So, like, if something like this had gotten out, and obviously it has because it's the tick thing, right? I wonder if that from someone getting bit by it and getting sick, and then they recover, they're able to recover from it, and then they end up having kids, like, it changed their body. And so, like, as their offspring, like future generations, now they're having just in like natural on a genetic level now reactions that not good reactions to red meats and things of that nature. Did I get that out okay? Because I feel like I was trying to explain that. It was a
Yeah, I
half-cocked
mean,
thought.
also thank you for slowing me down. I was fucking going 90 miles per hour there, riffing on this shit. I've been looking into it for a little while, and
No,
I
I think you're
find this
going at a
stuff
good pace.
so fucking fascinating and terrifying. But
You're going
it's
at a
good
good
information
pace.
to know about.
Yeah.
I mean, but with what you just said, it is very, very true that if you get this disease, it's highly contagious and passable. So if you get it, it's more than likely your children are going to have it if you have kids as a woman, and it just boom is passed on. So it's called the Southern Tick Associated Rash Illness. So if you eat red meat, um, you get fatigue, fever, headaches, muscle and joint pains. Also, you can get like hives if it's bad enough, and you become allergic to milk and dairy as well in the same regard. So it becomes really, really bad.
Damn. And I'm seeing right here, speaking since we were talking about Lyme disease, I'm seeing right here in the notes that by the 1990s, there was pretty much the eastern end of Long Island had the highest concentration of Lyme disease cases.
Yeah,
Was there
brother.
a number? Was there a number of cases? Like,
Um, I'm sure we can find one really quick.
yeah, because I'm curious about that, because in all reality, like, I'm really curious about it, because if it has the highest concentration of it, well, what clarifies that as the highest concentration? Just because it has like two more than somewhere else, or is it like a significant amount, or we're talking hundreds or thousands? You know what I mean? Like, I want to know what they're classifying that as. Because I feel like just saying, oh, it has the highest concentration. Well, yeah, I feel like that'd be a no-brainer, since it's right next to the facility, or that created it.
So New York alone, back in 2014, this study shows 2014 to 2021, Lyme's disease cases in 2014 was at a high of 654 individuals. I think it was, what's it say? Just for Suffolk County. I'm not sure where that is at directly. And then what the scale about it is, again, I'm just doing a really quick cursory search on this. I didn't delve into that stat, which is a really interesting stat. Looks like it has stayed pretty steady. Back in 2021, the most recent release of the study was 496 individuals have it.
What was the name of that county again?
Suffolk, SUF FOLK.
SUF. Sorry, could you repeat that one more time?
Yeah, it's SUF FOLK. Suffolk.
FOLK.
That's correct.
Cool.
But it says that the Suffolk County, which is right near Plum Island on Long Island, it has 5,000 to 6,000 cases a year.
Holy shit.
Approximately 300,000 cases annually across the country, although only 10% get reported in. So if only 10% of these cases are getting counted in, and that's 300,000, can you imagine how many other people get Lyme's disease?
Yeah.
Millions.
You said 300,000?
Yeah, so there's a Stony Brook Children's Hospital. I'm sorry, that's not true. I'm sorry. It is Stony Brook Children's Hospital released a report that says overall Lyme disease is growing popular for Suffolk County, which is off of Long Island. It's 5,000 to 6,000 cases a year, but throughout the country, there's 300,000 cases annually. And that's only about 10% of them that are getting like released to the public and that are getting like reported in.
Jeez. It's significant higher. I
So
just looked up the population for that area in 2015. Between 2000, I said, what is the population between 2014 to, I think I put like 2018. So it's just 4 years of part of that span. And yeah, there's only like 200 and something thousand people in that
yeah,
spot.
no, which is, I mean, if 6,000 people are getting it, that's a hefty
That's a
sum
lot.
of people.
Yeah, that's a lot of people to be getting it in that condensed area because over the area of the entire country, you know, when you look at the case by case basis, like just the analytics of it, it's way less, way less.
It's kind of scary though. If they can release these ticks on accident, quote unquote, to the public, what's stopping them from releasing anything else? Not to mention these Lone Star ticks, they
Yeah.
hunt you. They actively are trained to hunt you. There's a study that says they couldn't leave cattle alone. Like once they saw an animal, they would actively hunt out that animal. The same thing toward humans. Once it smelled our like pheromones or our scent,
Yeah.
it would actively hunt us down.
Yeah, I read about that.
Which
It had said that like what they'll do is they'll like if there's that particular tick, that type of tick sitting, what was the tick called again?
the Lone Star
Lone
tick.
Star tick, yeah. So apparently the Lone Star tick will sit like if it's on a leaf or on the ground, whatever, and you were out there camping and you walked through it through that area and it noticed you, right? It would literally start crawling and follow you. And it would
Yeah.
literally wait, like it's not like waiting. It would just proactively, the moment it knew you were there, you could be 50 yards away, it would literally start pursuing you. It would like,
Yeah, and
you know,
it's called questing. And
yeah, and it's not just one. There's a bunch of them. So it's
yeah,
like
the scariest part about them for me, dude, is that they ball up into like tens of thousands of these ticks, which makes them then waterproof and they can roll across water.
oh my God.
Yeah, so could you imagine like a golf ball size ticks just fucking rolling after you? Just
Bro, you know what I would you know what I always have on me
making my
when I
skin
camp?
crawl, dude.
I know. I hate ticks, but I can tell you right now, you know, if I saw a ball of thousands of ticks rolling across the water at me and I was out camping, I'd be like, you know what? It's gonna be a bad day for you guys because when I camp, I basically carry a flamethrower with me. I be burning everything because
Yeah.
nothing can survive fire. Like, think about it. Look at Dracula, man. It's like, oh, look, I can get shot. I can do this stuff. And it's like, oh, only a wooden stake can kill me. Nah, that's not true. Fire apparently works pretty good too. Seems like fire kills everything, my guy. I will be burning the entire forest and everything that exists. Sorry, go ahead.
Tell that to the Terminator. He is fireproof, but he's not lava proof. T2 would come at you after that flamethrower.
True, but we knew what happened to T1000, bro.
Yeah, he melted, baby.
He melted. He's liquid metal. Anyways, away from the Terminator. So one other thing about Plum Island that you had mentioned yet was the well, there's a two-part to this. The first part, we're just going to talk about the animal side. Animals.
Yeah, I wanted
been-
to get to that in like the second part almost.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to wait? You go ahead.
Yeah.
You take the
So,
floor then. Go to the next part.
another another reason why they have these armed guards on the island is because the island itself is infected with anthrax. It's just floating around the air on the island, and they have to do like periodic washing of the entire island. It is also a contamination level 4 facility. So that means you have to wear hazmat suits and all this shit to go inside of the facility.
Yeah, and they spray that shit down. I think it's what how often? It's not just once a day. Was it? It was more than once a day.
Every
right?
few hours.
Yeah, it has to be sprayed down every few hours because the anthrax anthrax is just one of many other things that are inside these like cells and containments that are in this place. But anthrax itself, when it gets exposed and it's able to thrive, basically the half-life on that anthrax and that environment, like it's still volatile. Like you can't,
Oh
it's
yeah.
not gone. So they're spraying that shit down to make it to where it's being contained. That's all it is. And that's terrifying to think about, that there's literally an island just right, not very far from the mainland at all. Like you could get there within
From
an
New York
hour.
City at that.
Yeah, that is just got nothing but horrible anthrax and volatile crap that just leaks out periodically.
I know it's truly diabolical. And if they are having issues containing anthrax, why aren't they having issues containing the other viruses? And what are the other viruses they'll have in there? I know they
Well-
have foot and mouth. I know they have fucking Lyme's disease and Borealis and all these other incredibly deadly and life-threatening diseases. What else are they hiding in there? What else are they harboring and treating and taking care of?
I want to say that this is also, Plum Island used to have an insane asylum on it at one point in time. Like
Really?
a
I didn't
long
know
time
that.
ago. I think it was, unless I'm thinking of another, because there's a few different islands over there. If you look at it on a map, you'll see Plum Island, and then you'll see there's another island that's just right next to it, and then there's another island that's just down below it. It's like I believe it was above it and below it, but there is an island that has where they used to treat people who were like criminally insane, had some crazy mental illnesses. We're talking about like how they would treat like schizophrenics and stuff back in the day, and that's where they would take them, isolate them away from everything, and they would do experiments to find out like basically, and which were not sanctioned, by the way. When people found out what they were doing to these people in this insane asylum, because they were literally like lobotomizing people and putting people through
Yeah.
severe, like crazy electric shock therapy. And the electric shock therapy was so high that it was almost at the same voltage and wattage and everything like that as what they use for the death penalty for the electric chair. That's
Oh
how
my
high
God.
that's how high they were doing it at certain points in time, like at different stages. So I want to say it's on Plum Island, which is also concerning because now we know what they do with the people who are there, because it's, now they have live guinea pigs for human testing to see what it would do to a person, like these horrible things.
So since you bring that part up, we can go ahead and move over to the animals that they have tested on and whatnot, if you'd like.
Oh, my bad. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on the previous stuff before we move
No,
to that?
I sort of wanted to bring up the island itself, like actually look at it on Google Earth and like look at the buildings they have on there, because they're separated by a large chunk of land. This island itself is like 800 acres across. They have the main facility on the, what is that, the northwest side,
You want to put it in
and
the
then on the,
stream? You want to put it in the stream, and I'll bring it up for people to see it.
yeah, sure.
I'm glad we're looking at the island, because I looked at the island on Google Google Map, or not Google Maps, Google Earth. I jumped on the Google Earth and I was looking at it, and it's really interesting because there's no, you know how like on Google Earth you can do the whole like click the blue little dots and you can go to like the street view. They don't
Mhm.
have any of that on the island because obviously it's 100% restricted. But if you turn on the 3D feature on Google Earth, you can zoom in at a 3D angle and get a better look at the terrain and the buildings and everything that's in that image that they have supplied. And it's not even just an image; you're able to move around because it's still in the Google Earth mode where you're not like in a stationary point. Um, and let me switch over to you. Do you just before I switch over to you, Evan, so they can see this stuff? Did you want to make that like, do you have any sensitive information in that browser that you don't want to be seen?
No. Well,
I just want to make sure before I switch, just because that would suck.
let me do this. There we go. Yeah, it should be clear now.
Good now?
Yep.
All right. There we go.
So we are actually on Google Earth itself.
There's actually
So if
oh,
you
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, if we zoom out here, we can see how close it is to the island. It's such a weird angle right now. I don't know how I got it so sideways, but you can see Connecticut right here, and you can see where the place of Old Lyme was generated. Old Lyme, I believe, is right here. I don't know why it's not populating. But yeah, so Old Lyme is super duper close across the water here, and then Long Island is even closer, which is
Yeah.
devastating to this place.
Do
Why
you
is
do
this
you see
island
that?
so
Do you
close?
see that island that's just north of it to the left? It's like it
On
looks
here?
like a little line with a little dot, and
Hmm.
next to it, it's like to the north west. Yeah, that one. So that island is the one I was thinking of that had the yeah. I think this is it. Has the insane asylum on it, and it's abandoned now, and no one's allowed to go there. Like it's completely cut off to the public. In fact, when you look at these images and you zoom in, like could you zoom in on the top of that other building that right there. Oh, sorry. Where it
The
says
big
Great
one?
Gull Island. Yeah. Can you zoom down on that? So that building, um, supposedly that is the some form of insane asylum, I believe it is, and it's built in like a goddamn bunker, which is the
Yeah, it's
creepiest
literally
part.
a bunker.
Um, yeah, that right there. I want to say this is the island. I could be wrong. It could be on a different island. It's something like this, where it's this tiny little island right next to Plum Island, and I don't remember which one it was, but basically go ahead and you can go back to Plum Island now. But all I was saying is that
So
that is completely
if
cut off from
this,
the public as well.
oh yeah, so if this place here is a insane asylum for people who are being mistreated and taken advantage of, and it is so stinking close to Plum Island, a minor boat's way away
What I
to
thought
this hellhole.
what I think is really interesting is that when you zoomed in on that island, go ahead and zoom in on Plum Island because I'm going to show a reference. Go ahead and go up, go forward, like to the yeah, keep going that direction. No, zoom out a little bit.
Hmm.
All right, go north, stop, see, go back down. Right there. Start zooming
Yeah,
in. Just start zooming in.
I
Just
think
start
you
zooming
should. I
in.
think you should have had the
Yeah.
controls here.
Zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. Right there. Those bunkers. Those are bunkers in the ground, and they look oddly similar to what we just saw on the other island, where it's built in. Which tells me that both these islands used to work in unison with each other at some point in time, whether it was due to Palm Island and what they do there, or other military operations that were taking place on that island. But those bunkers look very similar to what we just looked at on the other island.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I just want to point. There's a bunch more of those bunkers spread out throughout all of this island of Plum Island. By the way, there's like
So,
a few more.
so you were mentioning animals a minute ago. This place is notorious for harboring live cattle, live pigs that they are doing tests on with the foot and mouth disease.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it was back in 2020 or 2014. I think it's 2007 when
Can
the
you
Montauk monster.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Can you go down real quick? I want to
Mhm.
finish showing the island so we can get out of this view. I didn't want it to like sit there and be stagnant. Um, so obviously that's like a harbor, but if you click the 3D view. Click the 3D view on that shit. So zoom in on that. Like you can tell some of these buildings are so not upkept, like at all. Some of them, like that building straight towards the top, at the top of the browser right there, that's to the left of the boats. Yeah, that one right there. If you zoom in on that, like even from an aerial view, you can see the wear of the building. Obviously, it doesn't show it truly here, but
It's mutated right now.
yeah, it's mutated. But if you go back to the 2D view and then like zoom in on that building, like you can see you can kind of tell that some of these are either not in use or they're very old and not like cleaned like up top, you know. I don't know, it's really weird. The 2D view shows it more clear and shows more detail of what they look like. But the main facility they're using now, if you zoom out, the main facility is actually that really big one, that one right there at the top. That's the one of the main facilities. But most of the stuff they're doing is not above ground. A lot of that shit's
No.
in tunnels and bunkers, because those bunkers and stuff, it's all classified. So when you try to look up information, because I tried to look it up the other day, basically those look like pig pens right there, bro.
Yeah, so this area here is where they keep all the animals, and we're talking hundreds of animals just shoved into these things.
Yeah.
Cattle, pigs, chickens, you name it.
But there's tons. Just to give a fact about this place, the bunkers that you saw there, they're obviously built into the ground, and it's large enough. Those bunkers are large enough, by the way, that you could land a helicopter into those like donut rings that were there. You can literally land a helicopter there, like a large helicopter. We're not talking about a small one. We're talking a large one. I forgot what that military helicopter is called. The like basically carries
The
soldiers.
biplane?
Yeah, it can carry not a biplane. It's the dual propellers where it's got two massive propellers. Is that what it's called? A biplane?
Yeah, biplane.
Oh, okay. Never mind. But apparently they used to land those in those right there. Right there, those types of bunkers. Those are huge. Those are huge because the roadways, I know the roads, like you see the road and you're like, well, the road's not that much bigger or much smaller than those bunkers. Those roads are dual, like we're talking about 2 lanes on each side. In some areas, it's 3 lanes on each side of the road. So those are wide roads, like very wide roads. We're not talking like in your neighborhood, like the street, you know what I mean? You know, how big those roads are. We're like, yeah, they're huge. Anyways.
Yeah, they're like highways.
Yeah, you good for, are we done with Google Maps?
Absolutely, we are.
Cool. Back on you, my guy. What were you,
Hello, everybody again.
Yeah. So you were about to talk about, what were you about to get into before I made us look at the island more?
So with all the cows and animals and things like that, and the insane asylum so close to it, there is a lot of evidence pointing toward Plum Island doing animal and human experiments based around mutations and animal-human hybrids. There was once a 6-foot tall black male that washed up on shore that was dead and had incredibly long fingers. Like they said, abnormally long fingers, and no blunt force trauma to be seen other than 5 drill holes into his brain, which then goes back to what you said about lobotomizing and doing electroshock therapy, which also could be contributed to DNA changing and things of that nature. So
yeah, and they were doing lobotomizing, still like frequently, all the way through. I don't remember the exact date it stopped, but I know they were still doing it in the 70s. They were,
yeah,
which is messed up because
Yep.
I believe that was supposed to be illegal. Like, it was supposed to be outlawed. You're not supposed to be doing lobotomies and like all that stuff anymore. And yeah, it was still happening. And in a place like that, where everything's off the books and no one has access, no one knows anything, and that's where they're doing their main research on all these things with the brain and the human body and other, and obviously right next door to, a facility that does all this crazy experimentation and weaponization and cloning and, all that crap, genetics.
Yeah,
So
it's very worrisome. Very worrisome.
yeah, so yeah. So anyways, continue. So the man with long
So
fingers.
Yeah. And so that was the only human that has been put to record as washing up from Plum Island. Of course, it's all allegedly washed up from Plum Island, and
Well,
everything gets covered up really quickly.
They also have proof, and this isn't allegedly. This is actual case. It was on the news over the past 30, 40 years or something, where human body parts were washing up from the island and on the island. They were washing, like, because the way the water current was going, it was coming from the island to the mainland. The way the tide was moving inside that, like, I don't want to call it canal, but the mass of water between the island and the mainland. They had body parts washing up on the mainland.
Arms, legs,
Limbs,
torsos.
torsos, heads. Like, and there was heads that washed up.
Yeah.
Now, I couldn't find pictures of the human heads. I was trying to find at least something that, like, maybe it was like a blurred out photo, like an authentic photo from back then, but they blurred it out for, censoring purposes, to like,
Yeah, some redacted images, right?
yeah,
But there
something.
are lots of photos of the Montauk monster, which washed up on shore, and this woman just took a photo of it and was like, "What the fuck is this thing?"
Do you want to pull that up
Um,
and then put up that other
Sure.
picture? Because I noticed with you doing the stream, it's a lot easier. If I try to put something up, it's gonna mess up the image of the setup. Mainly because I didn't set up my extra window capture, so that's on me.
So, just a fair warning to anybody who's going to be looking at this image: it's not a pretty sight. It's kind of ugly.
It is kind of ugly. It is very much
But
ugly.
so it is a dead creature that washed up on shore that is bloated and has a beak and claws.
Can you zoom? Can you make that a little bit bigger?
I tried.
Like
I
control.
tried to.
Well, I know on
couldn't.
Windows. I know you're on Mac, but on if you do Control Plus in the browser, it usually like makes everything bigger. I don't know if it's the same on Mac or not. Oh, there we go. There it is. Look at that thing. All right, you look at the beak. That right there, they tried to say, the government came out and said that that was a raccoon. Do they not know what a raccoon is?
Right,
That is not a raccoon. Nothing in any capacity is that a raccoon. Because I used to, dude. Now listen, I'm not like a hunter or things like that. Like I've done hunting. I know how to hunt, but I've skinned animals before, and I've skinned a bit of raccoons at one point in time for fur harvesting seasons and stuff, like helping some friends I was friends with out. Um, yeah, I've seen what a raccoon looks like when it's skinned. I know what it looks like when the fur has been destroyed. I've seen it in every shape and form, and that is not a raccoon in any capacity. I'm just making sure
no.
to really push on that. And then there's that other image I sent you, because you look at that thing, right? Now seeing this image up close and then seeing that image I sent you, I'm kind of seeing similarities, but at the same time not. Like, because now that the snout isn't
Yeah,
there,
it's
so
not entire similarities. I mean, there are a lot of other creatures that have washed up on like Long Island and Connecticut shores,
yeah,
that have looked to be mutated monsters as well, like
yeah.
from fish to dogs to all sorts of things. I think it was a total of 11 that people have found, and that these creatures, once they get public, immediately disappear. Maybe some Long Island Italian guy's thrown it in his backyard or something, but uh, he's like, "Hey, what the fuck is this thing? Let's get this out of here. We don't want the kids to see this. Toss it in the backyard and let's burn it away." Um,
Yeah, no,
but
that animal that we just looked at, that is the Montauk monster, right?
have you closed the stream yet so I can get rid of it?
Yeah, I already got out of the stream. I've been
All right,
switching
cool.
back and forth between us. But yeah, so that is supposedly the Montauk monster. And yeah, it doesn't look like any type of animal I know of. The only thing I could like picture in my head that it kind of looks like due to his hands is a sloth. With how elongated his hand
Yeah,
is.
yeah, I can see the sloth.
But in that picture I sent you earlier, I did not look at that picture and then look at the other picture to refresh my memory, and I was like, "Oh, whoa, this looks just like it." And then no, it does not. I mean, it does in a way, but not with the snout. Unless it was missing its snout and it had been like lopped off or something.
Yeah, so there's also that conspiracy you brought up to me just the other day. Actually, I think it was today that you brought it up, that Plum Island is probably doing genetic modifying to bring back old. Uh, Fuck, my brain just melted. Uh, old expired animals. That's not the word I'm looking for.
Extinct, my guy.
Expired animals.
He's
I guess that's a
expired.
fair
Better
one.
throw his ass out. Your brain just expired. I tell you what.
He sure did. I had a wrinkle.
I had a wrinkle. Yeah, but yes, there's a lot of the whole animal stuff and all the stuff washing up on shore, which is really gnarly and creepy at the same time because they're unidentified. You know, we have a good visual on, especially that one. Like we can look at that. I'm sorry, I can look at that and go, yeah, that's not any form of animal I know of in the wild, like at all.
Yeah.
And I've seen quite a bit of animals in the wild. I've been up in the mountains and pretty much every mountain range that we have in, you know, the United States. I've been in the woods and pastures across many different ones across the United States, and I can tell you right now, there's nothing that looks like that. Because that's not like
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
not like it's deformed. It's not like it's deformed to the point where you can't even tell what its face is. No, you can see distinct features. You can see a distinct tooth set. You can see all these things that are very pronounced features. And yeah, it looks like it's may have been skinned, but at the same time, that doesn't look like it's been 100% skinned. It looked like
it looked like a pig that got sun blistered from being floating in the water for so long.
It does. It does kind of look like a pig, but at the same time, it looks like a pig that's been altered because
No, it's definitely an altered pig.
the way
yes.
its teeth are, because those teeth weren't just nubs. Because have you ever looked inside of a pig's mouth? Have you ever seen what a pig's jaw set looks like? Dude, those are not the same teeth. Those teeth are sharp.
It's wide. Yeah.
Yeah, those teeth that we just saw in that Montauk monster, those are sharp ass teeth. The pigs do not have teeth like that. No, not even close. And on top of that, pigs have more of a jaw. Like they have more of a elongated they have the snout, you know, but their jawline itself, the actual bone, extends out much farther. That it was like a you know, a
The
thingy.
beak, dude, is
It was
a
a
beak.
fucking beak. Yeah, thank you. See, I just had a wrinkle
Yeah.
too.
There you go.
It's a freaking beak, man. Like that is not a pig. I don't even know. And when you look at the paws on that dude, I mean, I'm just calling them paws for conversation's sake. The hands, the feet, dude, it's got claws on them. Like it's sharp
And,
pointed.
yeah, I love cryptids in general. So I was looking into cryptids, and this is what got me into the Plum Island thing. So I looked up cryptids that are in Long Island in New York, and the Montauk Monster pulled up, and I knew that thing is fucking real and came from somewhere, like almost immediately. So I had to do some digging into it, and then I got on the Plum Island, and then I got stuck into ticks, and then the ticks came out, and then everything started changing, and I started seeing it, and 1909 and 1911 and then the World Wars and then World War II and then oh shit, brother, they're mutating dogs and creatures out there.
I love it. You know, I'm gonna say one other thing, but I'm not gonna say the name of it because I know it's gonna it will hyper focus on us on our channel, and I'm trying not to do that. But the thing we went through in 2020, the pandemic.
Can you? Yeah, there you go. That's a good way to put
The
it.
pandemic, right? I'm not gonna say what it was a pandemic of, or who knows. I'm not gonna say what it was because it will hyper focus on us if we say the stupid word. But it is like it's basically a fact. They were tinkering with that particular virus or disease, whatever you want to call it, there back in the 70s. And that's not fake. That's real. So it's like they were
That's
messing with
documented.
Yeah, back on Plum Island, they were experimenting with that in the 70s, and they're trying to say it's like, oh, it's from this or that. It's from a bat. It's like, how is it from a bat if we've already been like I get what they're trying to say with it from a bat, but originality wise, like the origin, like is it really from a bat? Like where is it actually from? Because if they were messing with the 70s and they were trying to say is like in bats over in some other country, you know, just in the past 10 years. I'm like, okay, where'd it come from before that? Because we know that they were messing with it now, but no one's talking about that. They're not talking about how it was there on Plum Island in the 70s and 60s or whatever it was, whatever time frame. So I just wanted to throw that little knowledge nugget in there too, because I came across that, and that's authentic documents. You can look it up, 100% real. It was there. Back on you, Evan. He's just
And back
staring
to
at the camera.
me. Welcome to Smartly Uneducated, where I just fucking hate this shit, dude. I fucking hate picks. I hate experimenting on things. It drives me nuts. And why can't they just leave good enough alone, huh,
Yeah.
brother? I mean,
I get it. So did we pretty much cover everything for Plum Island?
yeah. So I reached out to the city official council member. I believe his name is Michael Christopher Carroll. I reached out to him to try to get him on the podcast, but he did not reach out to me. There's also another woman, Chris Newby, who wrote a book about the Lone Star tick called Bitten. And the book will make your skin crawl. It is so eerie. Michael Carroll wrote a book about Lab 257 that explicitly talks about all the diseases that they have in there and how well and how unmanaged and how unsanitary the facility is, and how the security measures whenever it was like 1960, 1970 were so lackluster that everything was getting out. And that's why they have an anthrax problem. That's why they have all these foot and mouth disease issues. And yeah, man, it's rough.
Yeah.
You can tell just from if you open your eyes and look around the world real quick at how unmanaged our local governments and city officials are, how unmanaged they are entirely.
Yeah.
Then if you look at a place like this, that is the Plum Island Animal Disease Control Center of the fucking United States.
Yeah.
And how could you imagine how unmanaged that place is? But on a good note, they have closed it down.
Oh, well, they say they've closed it down. They
It has
say
now
they
been
have.
reopened. It has now
Well,
been reopened.
given how close it is to mainland, right? And the reason I'm even going to this place in my head is because before I even say what I'm about to say is because when I lived in the Rockies, up in the Rocky Mountains, there are tunnels. There are literally tunnels that the military uses that go for a very, 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 very long time. They have tunnels
Yep.
that are, one, you don't have access. There's no even way for you to get to it. I stumbled upon it, it like literally accidentally, and I was at gunpoint. I was held at gunpoint by military. It was like literally
What
like
the
these
fuck?
guys who were out there in the mountains there, because it was technically part of shit. What was that thing called? I want to say it was NORAD. I think it was the grounds for it, like what property they own. It was near where NORAD is, and
Mm.
when I say near, it's just near it, right? So I could have been still 5 miles, 10 miles away, but they own all of that land in that area of the mountain. And they have like these giant fences with barbed wire. And I'm talking like, we're talking 10, 15 foot, very reinforced walls, like fences with razor wire spools, like tripled up all the way around it. And I remember I was walking, I was new to living there, and we were up hiking in the mountains, and I think we camped for like 3 or 4 days. And it was during that time when we were camping, we were just hiking and we were just exploring and stuff. And all of a sudden I saw this big fence, and I was like, whoa, what is there a fence doing out here for? Because I had no idea. I was new to the area. I knew nothing about NORAD. Like I knew of NORAD, but I was like, oh, NORAD's way over there. Like it's nowhere near us. So like we're walking, and all of a sudden when I see this fence, I was continuing over to it, and the buddy I was with, or the two buddies I was with, one of them was in the military, or former military, and he's like, yo, we can't go near that fence. He's like, you got to turn around. But I was like way farther ahead. I was like maybe 80 yards ahead. So he was yelling this, trying to like get me to stop. And I finally 80 yards away, someone yelling, you can't really hear him, that well. So I was just like, I just stopped where I was, and I turned around like, what are you trying to say? And then at that point, no joke, we had it was two Humvees, like two rigged up. I'm calling them Humvees. It may not have been actually a true Humvee, but they were military off-roading vehicles. And one of them two of them pulled up, like were driving over the terrain, just like boom, 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 up to us, like driving down the fence line. And then there was two more that were inside the fence on the other side, which is their grounds. Bro, when they pulled up, they were not like slowly rolling up going, hey, what are you doing over here? No, dude. They came in going full speed, like slid the tires, like the tires locked up. That's how fast they were like making a bum rush for us. And when they
Holy
got
shit.
out, oh yeah, when they got out, nothing but rifles. Nothing but rifles pointed right at my brain. And I was just like, whoa, because I was armed. I had a gun on me too. So I didn't try to reach for it. Fuck no. I kept that because I had it slung over my back. I did not try to do nothing. I just was like, whoa, hands out here. Like, I'm not trying to touch nothing. Don't shoot me. And so, yeah. And they were like, what are you doing out here? And they were just cussing us out. And like, they made us like basically detained us for like 10 minutes. And then they were like,
That's crazy.
and then they finally let us leave. And they followed us out. Like, no joke. They followed us for a little bit, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sure they're still watching us. Like, they had ways to watch us.
Is that the Cheyenne Mountain Complex, right? That's that
Yeah,
quote
Cheyenne
unquote
Mountain.
2,000-foot long tunnel, right?
Yeah, Cheyenne Mountain up there. But when we were out walking around, though, we saw lots of entrances that were like in places we couldn't even get to. So I don't know how they were gonna get there with a vehicle. You couldn't physically, hell, you couldn't even climb it. So, but there was entrances, like you saw, like there was these big, huge doors that obviously opened like this, that were just off of a cliff face, and it's like,
Bam.
oh yeah, and I found out that tunnels run, like they have tunnels that actually run from NORAD all the way up to, the Denver airport, and that I know for a fact. I know they do. And
Oh, yeah,
it's just,
the Denver airport has tunnels underneath it. You can see them.
yeah, so the only reason I'm saying that is because I'm just trying to say, like, it would not surprise me if they had tunnels that they could drive in that is under the water. Like, not in the water. I'm talking about below the ground that's below the water. They had put tunnels in place and they had dug that go straight to Plum Island. Because
I believe it.
if you
I
look
believe it.
because if you look at all those bunkers that are set up, and then you have the exact same, literally the same style of bunker on the islands just north of it. It's like, okay, well, what if they have a tunnel that's connecting the two? And you know what I mean? Like, it would not surprise me.
I mean, if the billionaire Elon Musk can do it in Los Angeles, what's stopping the government from doing it anywhere, right? So, yeah, that really opens a light to what is possible, right?
Yeah.
These huge tunnels that are in Cheyenne Mountain are rocket sized. They can harbinger aircraft inside of them. So if all they need is something small enough to drive a Jeep through, a 1975's Jeep through, or a golf cart, they can easily do that under the water. I mean, they have that in New York already with the subway. It goes under the water from Manhattan all the way across, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, man, just shit's fucked up.
Oh, it is. So I guess that
We
kind of
need to do a happy episode soon. We need to do another happy episode soon.
Yeah, we'll do a happy episode. We're gonna do tons of them. What are you talking about? We're the happiest people that ever existed. We are the definition of happiness. This is what you want to aspire to be, folks. You want to be like us. We are the most happy, the most positive, most constructive people that ever walked the face of the planet. And we're also the greatest
and happiest.
And we are the greatest. Hello, have you seen the new intro? We are the greatest podcast in the world. People just don't know it yet. If you don't know we're the greatest podcast, now you do. And even if you disagree,
We are the greatest.
I agree. That's so stupid. Yes, we are the greatest podcast. And if you don't believe that, then that's fine. But sometimes, just because you don't believe something doesn't mean it's not true. Boom, boom, boom.
Oh. Yeah,
Anyways.
so they closed. They say they've officially closed Plum Island in 2023, but they have relocated that place right to the center of the United States, Manhattan, Kansas.
That's probably
bumfuck nowhere.
Yep.
About 4 hours from me. So Hachi Machi.
You know what's funny about Manhattan, Kansas, and just Kansas in general? Kansas is, I get why they chose that location, because Kansas sucks.
It's the epitome of the flyover state, right?
Yes. And if we do have any listeners that live in Kansas, I'm not sorry I said that. Kansas does suck. I lived there for a while. It sucks. But
I mean, we
doesn't mean
appreciate you,
it
but we
doesn't
don't
mean
appreciate that
yeah,
place.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't mean I don't like you. I mean, more than likely I probably don't, but that's not the point.
Statistically proven, I probably don't.
But I feel like we just wrapped up Plum Island. Would you agree? Would you
for
agree?
sure. I definitely agree.
Okay, good. Well, then we're gonna close out this episode, but before we hit the close button and we draw the curtain down, I want to say fuck you, Jerry. Fuck you, Jerry. Yes. What was his true name? I don't even remember. It doesn't matter.
Jeffrey.
You know what? Every Jeffrey I know is a piece of shit. Look at Jeffrey Epstein. Dude is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And your name is Jeffrey, so fuck you, Jerry.
No, my name is Evan.
Oh, I wasn't saying you, but now that you say it.
If you did make it this far, please like and subscribe and share to everybody you know. Leave a comment. We'll reach out to you and talk to you. Email us at the smartlyuneducatedpodcastshow.com.
Yes.
Wait. That's not the email.
That's not the email.
It's a website.
No. The website's still a work in progress, just so you guys know. I just have been busy and I have not finished setting it all up. So that's on me. It's on my to-do list, so it will get done. But real quick, one last thing, and then I'm going to close this out 100%. Oh shit! I just had a brain fart. Now I don't remember. So I guess it doesn't matter.
Wrinkle.
Dude, I just had a motherfucking wrinkle. Dude, I just had a wrinkle.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Bye, everyone. Have a good one.
Hasta la vista.